Hi everybody, it's Don and I hope you're having a fantastic day. Well, we have some news about the investigation into the teenagers passing on the Carnival Horizon. We know it's been homicide, but some things have come out, and also the family is in court now. We also have St. Martin is doing something that I would be loved to see on other cruise ports, where they're cracking down on aggressive vendors. Also, 16 years ago today, there was a launch of a cruise ship. And this one single cruise ship changed cruising forever. So the family, the father and the stepmother.
Investigators haven't released many details about the case.
Who was found, remember, underneath the bed, asphyxiated. She was found underneath her bed, and apparently she had been choked out. Also had life jackets all shoved around her under the bed. And of course, we now know that one of the stepbrothers is the primary suspect. But in a recent court outing, the family itself is actually in custody proceedings, where the father is trying to get full custody of the children, saying that the mother obviously is neglectful to the kids and not doing proper care. And some of the details about this cruise have come out during those court proceedings. Let's listen to what the father's lawyer had to say here.
Your Honor, it's our understanding that because the cruise was in international waters, that the young child, not the 9-year-old, but the 16-year-old was allowed to drink. The teenagers were given their own room in which to stay. Just a lot of circumstances that showed that the mother in this case was not exercising appropriate supervision over this child.
Now, the stepmother's lawyers have come back and pushed back against this, saying that the closed circuit TV footage on board and the security, etc., has shown that there was no neglect of the children, and there was also no sign of drinking alcohol on board. Remember, this is a custody hearing, and by the sounds of it, it's a bitter custody hearing, especially now. When you think about it, if the father truly believes that his children are not being properly cared for after a tragedy like this, she still has custody of one of the children. So we'll have to see what becomes of this, and more of this comes out. But one thing for sure that could be a real banger of news in the custody hearing is that teenagers at the age of 16 and under were staying in a room without an adult. If you know, when you're booking a cruise, you have to have at least one adult over the age of 21 in the room. And so if they did not do that, that could be a very big sticking point in a custody hearing. And like, the whole story with this family is absolutely tragic. But on the flip side of this, let's talk about St. Martin. And St. Martin government, as you know, Phillipsburg is they're highly reliable on tourism. Tourism is number one. That's where they make their money. And the cruise ships are a big factor in this. And they're putting a stop to what they consider aggressive vendors, where they will come out and they will try and, hassle you and pull you into the shops, or they'll follow you around and try and sell you stuff over and over again, or they're yelling out at you from their booths, come here, get over here, hey lady, come here. This kind of thing, which turns off a lot of tourists. That's one of the reasons when I'm going through the Panama Canal, some of the destinations there I just didn't like to go to, because they would literally follow you on your tours trying to sell you stuff. And apparently St. Martin, and in particular Phillipsburg, has become a little bit rough, shall we say. And so they're beefing up security in this area. They're saying they're going to charge anybody who's being aggressive towards tourists in their sales, as well as people who are trying to sell stuff without the proper permits. And they'll all be charged about $190 US for each offense. And if it continues ongoing, they may be locked out of the area altogether, or deemed a nuisance, if you will, and other charges may follow. So that's one cruise port that's coming out and trying to get rid of some of those aggressive people. I mean, if you go out of some cruise ports and you go out of the little area, the minute you go out by the gate, some places have like 15, 20 people there. Taxi, taxi, and they're just trying, you can't even get by them to get out into the streets sometimes, and it becomes a bit of a hassle. So I'm glad to see St. Martin is looking after this in a way. And yeah, so what happened on this day? Can you guess? 16 years. It's hard to believe it's been 16 years. But this one ship debuted in New York City on December 5th. And it changed everything. It changed the way cruise lines look at cruising. It changed the way that particular cruise line thought. And it was the Oasis of the Seas. The Oasis of the Seas launched on this day 16 years ago. And like I said, it changed everything. The largest cruise ship in the world at the time was the Liberty of the Seas. And when the Oasis launched, it was over 40% larger than the largest cruise ship in the world. And it was such a success and such a flood that many more Oasis class came after that. And now we're building the Icon class, which is even bigger. But it's not just Royal Caribbean who's doing it. All the cruise lines are now doing it. I mean, we have the World Cruises, World America, World Asia, World Europe by MSC. Carnival is going to be building their Ace class ships. Even though their Mardi Gras and Celebration are big ships, they're building even larger ships to compete with these Oasis and Icon class ships. Even Princess has gone big with the Star and the Sun Princess. It seems like everybody's going larger and larger and larger and getting as many passengers onto the ship so they can sell them as much stuff and make as much money in one area, instead of having 3 or 4 smaller ships that hold 2,000, you can now have an Oasis class that holds nearly 6,000. One ship, one trip, one crew, triple the money. Less mechanics, less things to break down, less maintenance, less ships to pay port fees. Yeah, it kind of makes sense from a cruise line standards, but I kind of miss the days of being able to just have numerous smaller ships that don't seem as crowded. Now, the Oasis class also was the first one to introduce neighborhoods to an area. And now, as I'm looking at brand new ships being built from other cruise lines, what are they doing? They have neighborhoods, or their version of neighborhoods. So yeah, that's how groundbreaking the Oasis of the Seas was. And cruise lines have never looked back ever since. Well, let me know in the comments down below. Have you ever gone to a port and decided, you know what, I don't want to get off here because the vendors and the taxi guys, they're just so aggressive. I just feel like I want to stay on the ship, or I'm only going to book a tour with the cruise and take a bus, and then I don't have to worry about these guys when I'm out there. Let me know in the comments down below, and until next time, I hope you appreciate this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. Want to see more tips, more tricks, more travel vlogs from around the world? Hit that subscribe button. Until next time, have yourself a safe and a great vacation.